Driving basics number 11. So we're going to be looking at turning left across solid white lines. Okay, so this is an area of confusion. I 100% understand that, and it's come from one of my viewers. If I've got this wrong, apologies. Believe he's a new driver. He's passed his test, I think, but is a relatively new driver within a year or so. And we all know that feeling of we've passed our test, we're no longer under guidance, and it can be quite daunting. We can start coming across things that we haven't experienced before. The one thing you can't buy and you can't teach is experience. So suddenly, if you haven't covered these sort of situations with a driving instructor, you might start feeling a little bit worried. And he's worried that he's going to get a fine in certain situations cutting across a solid white line. So just want to do this video today, certainly to help him and any others that could have similar worries. So when we do this, there's two rules that we need to be aware of. Rule H3, and that gives a cyclist, a horse rider, horse-drawn carriage, anything like that, it gives them priority going ahead rather than us turning left. So it's not the law, but it is a should. I should give way to any of those type of road users that are going ahead if I am turning left. So that's the first one I need to consider. The second one I need to consider is Rule 183. And Rule 183, very specific on what we're actually doing today, which is when turning left, give way to any vehicles using a bus lane, cycle track, or tramway. So that's exactly what we need to be aware of. That rule hopefully will help my viewer feel a little bit more confident that they are allowed to do this, what we're doing today. Okay. Now the thing you must not do is you must not drive in the bus lane if it's active, or the cycle lane if there is a solid white line before you turn left. That can lead to a fine if you were to do that. So I'm going to show you just a couple of quick examples, and hopefully this will put my viewers' mind at ease and not have to worry. One thing I would say to my viewer is please don't keep apologising for these random questions. That's exactly why I did the YouTube channel. I just want to try and help. I really enjoy the feeling when my learners progress, when they have these little light bulb moments, they figure something out. And if I can help a wider community of people with any requests that you might have, that's exactly why I started the channel. So please don't apologise. Keep asking whatever you've got. So on my left at the moment, I've got a cycle path with a broken white line. So no one has any fears of crossing up there, but it now becomes a solid white line. So I must not drive in this cycle path, okay? I must not drive in it. I'm going ahead at these traffic lights, and there is a cyclist up ahead, okay? Now I'm going to be taking the next road on the left, so I need to consider that cyclist. If I'm going to make them stop, swerve, or change position, I need to let the cyclist go first. So I'm going to be very aware of where they are. Nice early signal. Now the cyclist is quite far back, but the solid white line here is actually suspended for the left turn. So that makes it more obvious to me that I can absolutely come in and turn left at the junction. If the cyclist was closer, I should stop and allow them to go first. Now along there, if I needed to access any of the properties, if I live there, if I'm visiting, I absolutely can. But again, I mustn't drive in that cycle path. I must just cut across it. And that's the difference. I can cut across it, I can't drive in it. So let's go and find another example. I haven't seen, if I'm honest, I haven't seen many of those. See, like at the junction here, they make it a broken white line to make it obvious I can go in, and then it's a solid white line after. I haven't seen many where the solid stays through the junction. I might be wrong here. I mean, if there are ones, obviously, let me know. I just haven't seen many, or any that I can think of. But again, just to reiterate, if I was wanting to turn into one of these driveways to access the property, I absolutely can cut across the cycle path. Shouldn't really be doing what these guys are doing and parking where they're parking, should we? Driving basics again, going round the centre circle of a mini roundabout. And here we are at Norwich's ugliest pipeline. No idea what this is. Does anyone know? If anyone on YouTube can tell me what they're doing here, I would love to know. So I'm now approaching a bus lane up ahead. Many bus lanes have cameras to detect us if we're in and when we shouldn't. This is a bus, cycle and taxi one. It's active from 7:30 in the morning to 9:30 in the morning. And now is a solid white line on my left. So that is an active bus lane at the moment. I must not drive in it. But if I need to access those properties, I absolutely can turn left. I'm going to take the next road on the left, so I'm going to give plenty of warning. Now, I mustn't drive in the bus lane, so I'm not crossing the solid white line. And just before the junction, as I said earlier, I'm checking, good checks, but I can now cut in no problem. The solid white line actually ends, and like I said, I haven't seen ones where the solid white line continues, but yet you could still take a turn, no problem. But remember rule 183, you should give way to people that are coming along. So if there's a bus, cyclist or a taxi driver in that cycle lane, and you turning left is going to make them slow down, stop, or drive the basics. Number 4, or slow down, then you must not complete that left turn. You'd give priority to that person. If they want to give their priority to you, they might not feel as comfortable. That's fine. You take the priority if they're giving it to you. And we've got a warning, just a sign just letting us know there's a bus and a cycle lane. So that as I emerge, I know there's a bus and a cycle lane, and I can see the markings telling me not to go in there, really. So, happy days. Now, the other thing to consider is there's a roundabout coming up, and I want to turn left, and I've got a bus and cycle and taxi lane on my left with a solid white line that is active. And again, I must not drive in the bus lane. So because I've got someone behind me, they're not close, but it says there's an end of bus lane sign there. The solid white line ends, so I'm signalling early, checking early, and this is now when I can come across to position for the left turn. I can't do it earlier. If I did that earlier, that is driving in the bus lane. I often do mock tests along this road, and I remember I had a mock test fail a couple of years ago now. But to give you the example, it was we were driving along that road, and the signs tell you that the bus lane is not active unless it's 7:30 to 9:30 in the morning. So my learner comes along. Now we were doing about 12 o'clock, something like that. So the bus lane is not active. He comes along, sees the bus lane, positions to the right. He's doing 25 in a 30, so he's all right, but he's a little bit slow. And then someone behind us wanted to overtake. We should be positioned in the bus lane now because it's actually not active. That's our default driving position. There is a rule in the highway code, I forget the number, but I'll get that on the screen. And that tells you always drive to the left. So we should be in the bus lane. And the person behind us got to the point where they got annoyed, wanted to overtake, so they overtook us on the left. Now I will do a separate video on overtaking on the left because it's one of my pet hates. They shouldn't do it. But we've caused that situation by number 1 being a little bit below the speed limit when there was no point being that slow. And also we were actually positioned in the wrong place in the road. We should have been into the left. So that was actually a mock test fail that I had on a bus lane, if you like. So hopefully that makes sense. If it does still leave you a little bit confused at certain points, obviously do ask. It's no problem. Rule 183 is the big one I would look at to make yourself feel better, because that tells you when turning left, make sure you just give way to anything that's using a bus or a cycle lane. So it's obviously telling you you can do it. Hopefully that makes you feel better. If there are any more random requests, please do keep them coming in. I'm no problem in simply answering them online, or if it's more effective for you, I'm going to do a video on it like today. And I think for a lot of us, seeing someone do something is a lot better, because we get that reassurance of, yes, that's exactly what I meant, and right, I'm happy I can do that now if it's safe. Hopefully that makes sense. That was driving basics number 11. I wonder what the next one's going to be. I'll see you for the next one.